that Saddam used against the Kurds. Well, where did he get it from? George, where did he get it from? And we decided to, Obama decided that we were going to support some untrained, ill-prepared, unqualified, unarmed rebels against Assad. And evidently, our support didn't help them any because they were unable to topple Assad. And things got to be such a mess down there that Putin says, "Look, we gotta fix this. It's gonna be a big problem if we don't fix it. So we're gonna go down there and we're gonna fix it." Because our country's president, our administration, got on the wrong side with the wrong people, with the wrong policy, which is why it didn't work, which is why we weren't winning, which is why Putin is now in there bombing whoever the hell he wants, and then accusing Washington or the Obama administration of not telling them who to bomb. Think about that for a second. Putin is running around bombing everything in sight that seems to be against Assad, and it's only because we're not telling him. Well, I would think, okay, Putin, here are the bad guys. Here's ISIL. There they are. Go bomb them. But we're not even doing that, according to Putin. Which, one has to ask the question, well, are we calling Russia a partner down there? Why is Putin calling us a partner? Is this some sort of sadistic plot or plan on Obama? The guy, now, don't get me wrong, Obama's not an idiot. He's a weakling and he's a wimp and he's a puppet, but he's not an idiot. He really is a smart guy. But having brains and intelligence, when it's not backed up by strength, courage, and power and resolve, it means nothing. And Putin knows this. He might think, hey, Obama's a pretty smart guy. Yes, but he is wimp, weakling, no resolve. I can defeat him easily. I will outmaneuver because he has no resolve. And that's exactly what's happening because the guy stands for nothing. And since he doesn't stand for anything, those who do stand for something, either whether or not we agree with what they stand for or like what they stand for, they've got an advantage and a better shot of winning than we do. And unfortunately, that's that the person with the resolve is not exactly a friend of the U.S. of A. Look, when you start talking about giving. Did we get? I don't think Britain gave the RAF permission to shoot down Russian jets. Did we? Rules of engagement? Did we say okay? Yeah, shoot them down if they bother you like that? I haven't heard that close encounters of the Russian kind happening with the RAF since the RAF said, well, yeah, shoot them down. But now we're getting multiple close encounters of the Russian kind with U.S. aircraft. So I'm thinking our rules of engagement are probably have known by Russia and Putin are extremely limited. And they can feel free to do whatever they want as long as an RAF fighter jet isn't around. That's also pretty sad. But look, it's our own damn fault. I hate to bring it back to this point, but we elected the jerk. Not Putin, Obama. We elected him twice. And we elected him twice because we had, for two reasons, and I'm going to keep making this point. 2 reasons only. Because we let the left shame us into thinking that if we didn't vote for this guy that we were racist, and we all want to think that we're not. I'm not racist. No way. I'm not bigoted. No way am I racist. And in order to prove it, we elect the black guy. Well, half African guy. Just to prove that we're not racist. And then, of course, during his re-election, well, if you don't re-elect this guy, you're a racist. Well, I'm not a racist. So I'm going to prove I'm not racist. I'm going to vote for him. Again, just so you know. And then we had way too many Republicans, 4 or 5 million of you, sit on your lazy duffs and not go and vote.
Well, Ron, I have scruples, and I have, I couldn't hold my nose and vote for Romney.
Well, I don't care who the Republican candidate. Well, I do care who the Republican candidate is, but when it comes to November 2016, I don't care who that Republican candidate is right now. I'm telling you, hold your freaking nose and vote for him. Because any one of those Republican candidates are far more conservative and will do this country far greater good than any of the Democratic candidates right now. Any. Now, if Biden gets in the... Do you want a President Biden? Honestly, are you telling me that if Jeb Bush, for whatever reason, ends up being the nominee, that you're going to sit on your little duff at home and say, I don't like Jeb Bush, I can't vote for Jeb Bush. That you think that allowing Joe Biden to be elected president is going to be better than letting Jeb Bush, Rhino, be president? Really? Because that's what you said about, Romney. I can't vote for Romney because he's such a rhino. I can't hold my nose. And then we get Obama for a second term. And he's better than Romney? Some people might think, Rod, you're being a little harsh. No, I'm not being harsh. I'm being factual, honest, and truthful. The truth is, the American voter screwed up. Big time. I guess those of us who knew better can take bear brunt of some of the responsibility, because we obviously didn't impress upon you the importance of you getting out there and voting for the most conservative candidate available at the time that could possibly win, which was Romney. And, you might say, well, Romney's a rhino. Well, yeah, but he was more conservative than Obama. Get the point I'm making there? Because I'm convinced that we would not have Putin in the Middle East and Syria bombing indiscriminately if Romney was president right now. We'd have a totally different policy in the Middle East, and we wouldn't be giving up Iraq and Afghanistan. There's just a story. The Taliban is as strong as it has been since 2001. When did they regroup? Well, after Obama pulled us out of Afghanistan and stopped targeting them. So all of those servicemen and women that went into those two countries and died to preserve liberty and peace basically died in vain. Because those countries weren't taken by the enemy. They were just handed over to the enemy. And look, I know the history of Afghanistan is a tough country. I get it. They've never really been, conquered, if you will, simply because of the system of how they live over there. I got it, get it, got it, good, right. Yeah. And you can argue that maybe we never should have entered Afghanistan, and you could be, 100% right. But once we did have it. And now we don't. Thank you very much for wasting thousands of American soldiers' lives for nothing, Mr. Speaking of Putin, by the way, do you know that? And comes at a time when Obama is trying to cut our military even further, including our army, by reducing it by another 40,000 troops. We're at the point now. We're at what? I think we had a bigger force pre-World War II, didn't we? Yeah, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. But Putin is, they have this tank called the T-90 tank. Russia has turned its T-90 tank into a robot and plans to hire gamers to fight future wars. Why aren't we doing this too? What's the reason? I don't know what the reason for not doing it. It costs money to develop this type of stuff. Arms company said it is refitting the iconic war machine, the T-90, to work remotely. Drivers will be able to maneuver war machine from up to 3 miles away. The Russian deputy prime minister said future army will need to recruit gamers in order to work the tanks. Think about this first. You want to talk about, robots fighting in wars? Well, here's the next best thing. Like us and our drones, it's people who aren't. Oh man, you just lost it. You got blown up. Yeah, that's okay. I just grab another tank. Yet they get to live again. And the worst part is that it's not going to be human operated tank versus human operated tank. It's going to be remotely controlled tank versus human operated tank. And so when you blow up the human operated tank, you really lose. Where if you just blow up the remotely operated tank, all they got to do is like a video game is start over and get a new tank. Boom, there it is. I don't know. I know some people are saying, well, we don't want to get into remote wars like that, Rod. I understand that, but when you're talking about dealing with stuff like this, you got to be able to either, if you can't at least be ahead of the game, you got to be able to at least match the game. You're going to lose. Right now, we're not winning. Hate to quote Charlie Sheen, but not winning. Charlie Sheen would probably, I hate to say, Charlie Sheen would probably be a better president than Barack Obama. As nutty as that man is. And well, one thing for sure, if you had Charlie Sheen in the White House, it'd make the Clinton bimbo eruption look tame. Speaking of tame, you see Playboy has announced that they're not going to have nude photos in Playboy anymore. What are all the guys who, because everybody reads Playboy for the articles, the insightful articles. Yes, I'm sure. I'm sure Putin is over there reading the articles in Playboy. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.